good morning to our candidates, Representative Kelly Skidmore and Hasan Zahangir. We appreciate you both participating. Thank you for the questionnaires. We will all have questions for both of you this morning in anticipation of an editorial recommendation in this race. Mr. Zahangir, I'm going to begin with you, ask you for an opening statement of sorts, 90 seconds or so, but tell us why the voters of District 92, should not re-elect Kelly Skidmore and elect you instead.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Hasan Zahangir, and I'll answer you. I'll go direct to your question. I live in this district for last 45 years, and I raised my family, and I'm with the people every single day for last 45 years. Me and my family, we have a business in this district for last 35 years. So day in, day out, I get to talk with the constituents. I get to talk with the people. Hurricane comes in, I'm there to help my community with the food, ice, drink, everything. And then 2019, when the COVID hit, I was at the Boynton Beach Mall serving food all day long to the people. Parkland school shooting, I was there to comfort the families and everybody. So I'm not a newcomer in this community. This community knows me real well. And then if we can do the market analysis and everything, you can see this now on. And plus, my agenda for these people, for my constituents is, my agenda is the kitchen table talk. What they need every day. That's why I'm going to represent them. That's why people wants me to run in this district.
Okay, remind us, refresh us. What's the nature of the business you have?
I had a frozen ice cream yogurt business, and also I had a part share of the 7-Eleven franchisee.
Okay, and you've as a Democrat, you've been a consistent voter in this district, have you?
Yeah, you're asking me? Yeah, I've been voting, and I've
Yes.
been in a Palm Beach County Democratic Party member since 2002, and then I've been voting the Democrat every single election.
Okay, good for you. Very good. In that role as a Democratic voter, I'm going to ask you this question. Have you voted for Kelly Skidmore in the past?
I did have her to win last time. Yep, a lot of times. I know her since 2010, and we've been working together. And then I did help her to win in the last few elections.
Okay. Let me turn to Representative Kelly Skidmore. Kelly, good morning, and tell us why you feel you should deserve another 2 years in Tallahassee.
Well, thank you so much for getting us together this morning. Pardon me. I really think that with the legislature we have in place and the leadership of the Republicans, experience is something that is critical. Having spent time as a legislative aide and then having served previously, now in this new role in the last 2 years, I've been able to put all of that experience to very good use in helping not just my district, but my colleagues across the state. And as you know, it's very difficult to learn this process. And I don't have to learn this process. I know this process. I have a great admiration and respect for the legislative process. I'm able to work with my colleagues on the other side and get things done. And I'm able to work through the appropriations process and bring needed funds back to the district. I am someone who believes very strongly in constituent service. In addition to what we do in Tallahassee, what we do in the district is critical, whether it is, walking someone through the unemployment compensation system, whether it's helping someone find the right person to solve a problem that they have, that state government is either in the way or thwarting them. Our office is dedicated, and that is something that I have always been very strong on, is constituent casework. And so I really think that as we move into this next legislative session, that someone with experience is critical for our Democratic caucus in the House, there are only 3 people who are returning who will have more than 4 years of experience in the legislature. And I just think that, my experience is very valuable to our caucus, to the values that the Democrats hold, to the fight that we have to bring every day against some of the things that the Republican leadership will throw at us.
Oh, okay, I'm trying to identify him. I'm hearing some background noise somewhere. Not sure where it is. If you're not speaking, please mute your microphone, and we'll allow a second or two for you to reactivate it. Kelly, that was an amazing and very significant thing you just said. Only, I think you meant in the Florida House, only 3 people are returning with more than 4 years experience. Do you mean only 3 Democrats? Or
only 3 Democrats in the caucus, yes.
That is, do you know off the top of your head who they are?
It's Fentress Driscoll, Carlos Guillermo Smith, and James Bush.
Okay, very interesting. I mean, that is a tremendous loss of seniority in an already, depleted Democratic caucus because of the partisan imbalance in Tallahassee.
You know why, right? Because the people want a new face. People want to be represent them right. That's why they want it to all new face.
Well, let me ask you about that, Mr. Zahangir. What's the evidence in Boca Raton and in surrounding communities? What's the evidence that Democrats want a new face in Tallahassee?
Well, the response I'm getting from the people, and then plus is like if you ask the record of our representative, 80% of the constituents doesn't know the name of the representative. So what does that tell you?
Well, you raise an interesting point. I'm not sure about the statistic. I haven't seen that exactly, but I'll accept it for the purpose of this discussion. What does it tell you?
It tells me because we lost the connect we lost the contract with our border. We lost the contract, the people elected us, and that will not happen with me. I promise. I knock on the door to almost a lot of people and make a lot of border and everything, and I told them I'll be there when they need me.
Okay.
And I was there already. Every single time I was there when people need me.
It is
when my constituents need me.
It is very important that people who vote know who their elected representatives are. Mr. Zahangir, who is your current representative in the Congress of the United States? Who's your congressman?
Louis Frankel.
Lois Frankel.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Skidmore, is that your member of Congress too?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Mr. Zahangir, who's your state senator?
Lori Berman.
All right, very good. Okay. I'm going to pause here and turn the floor open to my colleagues, Randy Schultz and Dan Sweeney.
Go ahead, Randy, if you have anything.
I was going to ask Mr. Zahangir, if you've been a Democrat and done all this, why, given the Democrats' distinct minority in the Florida House, are you challenging an incumbent?
No. Sorry, Randy. There is no incumbent on District 92. This is a brand new district. There is no incumbent. This is a brand new district.
Okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
Why are you challenging a sitting House member?
No, I didn't challenge. I was the one who filed it, and then this is the open seat. So I have I talk with my constituents. I've been on the field for last almost a year, and I've been talking with my constituents and everything, and they're the one who want me to run and represent them the right way, what they need, because they do not believe in any more career politicians. They want somebody new with the fresh blood.
Well, what do you think Representative Skidmore has done that you disagree with?
Well, not me. I asked my constituents, and even she was elected in 81. I have a lot of friends lives in there. And I asked them, I said, did you know what is Skidmore pass, anything that affect on you? They have no idea. So I cannot answer that question.
If you were elected, sir, there is no way on this earth you'd be able to pass anything of substance in a Republican legislature unless you were doing something that the Republicans wanted. So again, is there anything specific that Representative Skidmore has voted on or done that you disagree with that would justify voters picking you over her?
Okay, well, put it this way. We all know that this is a Republican majority House and Senate, but we have to coordinate it because we have to see like-minded representative and senator. We have to work with them. We have to bring in our team. My theory is if I lose 20% of my value, but I gain 80% of my value, I'll go for the 80% to win. So if I have to shake my hands with to get things done with my Republican representative and senator, I'll do that. But I'm not gonna lose because of like I said, my theory is I lose 20%, but I will gain 80% for my constituents and for the state of Florida. So I believe in
just if I may, sir, I still haven't heard anything on which you would fault Representative Skidmore specifically.
Number one is I'm not going to point finger what she didn't do or what she did. This is what I'm finding out, that people does not know her name, and people doesn't know who his representative is from the District 81. Forget the District 92. This is a brand new district, and we are both representing in this district, and I'm the one lives in here for last 42 years. So I thank her for whatever she did, but few of the bill and few of the she sits at the appropriation committee and everything. She brings some money for our constituents, but that's not enough. Look at the affordable housing, Sidaski Fund. We have our representative all sitting in Tallahassee in front of their face. Our governor took that money and used for something else. Why didn't we hear that from our representative before? I think the constituents has the right to know that from the beginning. Same with the abortion bill, same with the school bill, same with the voter suppression bill. We knew it only a few days ago, but we have our representative in the State House. If they need a help, they can ask the constituents. Will be there with them to help them. So that is been missing from our representative. That's why I'm running.
Kelly, you want to respond to all of that?
Well, sure. The first thing I'll say is if I'm not the incumbent, then Senator Bobby Powell's not an incumbent, Senator Lori Berman's not an incumbent, Senator Tina Polsky's not an incumbent. Any single person in Palm Beach County whose district number changed is no longer an incumbent under that philosophy. The only person who would be an incumbent is Gervonta Edmonds, who I think was sworn in the last 5 days of session. So I think that that's a false narrative. Hasan also was not running in 92. He was running in 90 for a year, more than a year, because
that was my old district.
That was the district number. You didn't have a district. It's not your old district. So I think that it's a false narrative. I've been in this process a while, and I know every time I go and I talk to a group of people who are not already engaged in the legislature, I will say, how many of you know who your state representative is? In my role as the CEO of the Palm Beach County Medical Society, we have a program called Physician Leadership Academy. It's Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach County physicians who are brought together to learn about how to become leaders. They learn communication skills, and one of the things we do is an advocacy session. I have never had, and I've been doing that for probably 4 or 5 years, I have never had one physician know who their state representative, state senator, or member of Congress was. So this is not an issue that is unique to District 92 or District 81. People have busy lives. They don't understand what the difference between city, state, and federal government always is and who handles what. And so it's not unusual that I would not be a household name, or any of our Democratic incumbents would not be a household name. So again, I think that it's a false narrative. Hasan works well in his community, but as Democrats, as good Democrats, we should not be challenging other good Democrats. Also, he's not ever been to Tallahassee that I know of, and is not sure and has never witnessed this process and how it works and how Democrats have to engage with Republicans and how we get things done. One of the things that, I know it's a quote that I'm stealing, but you can get a lot done when you don't care who gets the credit. And I don't care who gets the credit. I work to get things done for my state and for my community.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
I had a quick follow-up to that for Mr. Zahangir. She just said that you haven't been to Tallahassee, you don't know how it works and how you need to work across the aisle. On your questionnaire, on everybody's questionnaire, we asked, name one thing that Ron DeSantis has done that you strongly agree with, and you couldn't think of anything. So, when it comes to, say, money for Everglades restoration plans, I can, if I had a second, I could probably think of a half dozen other examples. There's nothing you can think of that as a Democrat you approved of Ron DeSantis doing? Nothing?
Well, I didn't come up with anything that's really affect our state and affected the constituents in my district. That's anything he did. And then he didn't come up with anything of his own because, I didn't approve one single thing he did, and one single thing, he's done. That's I can think about. About the experience, may I went there to ask about Kelly's things about this more? About before the 2010, Kelly, you didn't have that experience to about the Tallahassee either. We send you up there. So it's the time to start a refresh, and then fresh blood to go up there and represent the fresh is change everything. And now is the people are more concerned about their daily things. And so I'm the one to represent them right now for the Tallahassee. And I'm a good learner. I'm a fighter. I can get it done real fast.
Well, let me just clarify what you just said. I didn't start in 2010. I left in 2010 after starting in 1996.
I wanted to ask Representative Skidmore a question. Kelly, give us an example of something that you brought money back to the District 81, in the current state budget.
One of the things that I was very proud of was that the legislature had made a promise to the folks in the Glades in regard to an exchange of land that was taken out of farm production. And they created the Everglades Restoration Workforce Training Program. But for the last couple of years before I got there, it had not been funded at all with any dollars. So I worked with Jay Trumbull, who was the appropriations chair. And it was a really fun experience, to be honest, because I filed an amendment to add money into the budget for that program. And he called me and he said, "We're not taking any amendments. I'm going to have to ask you to withdraw it." And I said, "I can't do that, Chair. I have to, get this money for my community." So we went back and forth for a few days before he finally came over to me, shook my hand and said, "Okay, if you withdraw your amendment, I guarantee that I will put money in the budget for this program." So that was a really fun experience and an opportunity to work with a leader and get things done and brought home. And last year I brought home $1.7 million for that program.
Okay, that was in the previous year's budget, correct?
It was in both years' budgets. Yes.
Okay. All right. Tell us briefly, in summary, tell us how redistricting changed the district you now represent as District 81. You're running to represent District 92. We understand the district has been redrawn. How is it different?
So parts of West Boca now go into District 91, which is all the way from the coast to the Everglades at the very southern end of it. Then it kind of stair steps District 92 from Boca, Delray to Boynton. So it eliminated what was in 81, parts of western Boynton, a little bit of Lake Worth, Wellington, and then the Glades. So those other parts got succumbed into 93, and then I think it's 94, the one that Rick Roth is running in the Glades.
As you indicated a few minutes ago, you've always been very active and very serious about constituent service. Has Mr. Zahangir, to your recollection, ever contacted your office for any assistance with a legislative matter, or to tell you his opinion on anything?
No, not that I recall. Mm-mm.
Mr. Zahangir, tell us about that. Tell us why you wouldn't have ever contacted your state representative.
I did call her office few times for other reason, and then we did meet, and then with a lot of occasion we did meet, and then everything. But then my constituents, when they came to me, that was too late for her to respond, because of I was already thinking to running for this district. Now, about the district 90 and 92, before the redistricting, I was in district 90. After the redistricting happened, now I became in district 92.
Okay. Kelly Skidmore, is the House Democratic Campaign Committee helping you in this? You're an incumbent. I mean, I realize that's open to debate. I realize the district, this is splitting hairs. The district has been redrawn, but you get to put REP period in front of your name. You are a member of the Florida legislature. Mr. Zahangir is not. And so that speaks for itself. But I wanted to ask you, is the House Democratic Campaign Committee giving you money and resources in the primary?
The House Democratic, it's House Victory. So
House Victory.
I am supported by nearly the entire caucus. I have the endorsement of the incoming leader designate, the leader pro tem, the minority whips, the everyone that I have worked with. So in terms of finances, I raised my own money.
Okay.
But yes, House Victory is helping in the campaign. If the Democrats have the votes and the Democrats could move an agenda, what changes, in your opinion, are needed in the campaign finance system in this state? Oh gosh. I think it should be, I kind of love Parliament, where you have a very limited amount of time and a very limited amount of money. I think that we have gone really down a rabbit hole when it takes millions of dollars to win a state Senate seat, tens of millions of dollars to win a statewide seat. It's, for a lot of people, for the public, it is too much money, and it is a waste of money. It is difficult. I need to, send political mail. I need to, educate voters about who I am, what I stand for, what my values are, and how I would vote on things. And in order to do that, I need to spend a lot of money to get that mail out, and that goes in the garbage. That after somebody reads it, it gets thrown away. So to me, we have taken this to a point where the public doesn't trust a lot of it because the amounts of money are so egregious. So if there were, and I know that the Constitution allows freedom of speech, and we are able to give and collect money from everyone, I think that there should be more limits. I don't know why we went from a $500 limit to a $1,000 limit. I think that we should have, it would be great if we could have, sort of guardrails on the amount of time. I think that it is good that we don't raise money during session. I think that that is an important thing. And I think that the rules that are in place, for example, not accepting campaign contributions or soliciting campaign contributions in government buildings. I wish there was a better enforcement of that, because I feel like I see that happening at times. And there's not an enforcement mechanism for some of the things. So there are, within the construct of the Constitution, I know that there are limited things that we can do, but I'm sure that there are legislative things that we can enact that would give people a little bit more trust in the process.
Okay. I'd like to ask Mr. Zahangir to tell me what is your opinion of House Bill 5? House Bill 5 was the bill that passed the legislature this year that imposed a severe restriction, a time restriction on when a woman in Florida can have an abortion.
I was totally against of it, and
why?
we did. I mean, that House Bill 5. Me, and then even my opponent Kelly was also, against of it too, because we didn't support that. I believe in women's right to choose from the day one, because of that should be their right, and we, the politician or the judges, has no right to tell any woman what they can do, what they cannot do. Now, can I go back to the campaign financing for one point? What Kelly replied, I'm against the taking the, I raised my own money too. I didn't take any money from the big company. And then, so if I get elected, I'll make sure none of the politicians take any money from the big company, because of, if we do that, then we cannot serve our constituents. For an example, FPL, sugar company, this company, that company, big tech company, you cannot serve the people if you, if we take the contribution from those big company. So I'm against of it all the time, and I didn't take one penny from them. All of my contribution came from the, grassroots people.
Can I ask real quick?
I just want to go ahead.
Thank you. When you say don't take any money from big companies, define a big company, because you say you're not going to take any money from big companies, but okay, so Twitter and FPL are obviously big companies, but what's a big company really to you? What money? Where would you take money from?
The grassroots people. But
a small business owner wants to give you money. Are you going to take it?
Yeah, a small business, of course, but he's not affiliated with the big corporation, because they are the one who is controlling everything. If I take the contribution from them, I'll be their, I'll be representing their idea instead of the help of my constituents' needs. So I am against of it. There should be no contribution from a big corporation.
I'm just saying, where do you draw the line? Because all small business is still an LLC. It's still a corporation.
Right, but then according to the even the Obamacare law, if you have a 50 employee, you are still on a small, or less, you are still on this small corporation. If you are 50 or over, you are a big corporation. So big corporation try to control our community, try to control our everything.
So you would not take any money from any business with 50 or more employees, is what you're saying? Okay.
Okay, so I want to peel back one more layer of that onion. Yeah, that was a good subject to bring up. A gentleman in Delray Beach owns a Ford dealership. He sells Ford cars, and he's concerned about what Tallahassee could do to affect his business. He's got 75 employees. So that makes a Ford dealership in Delray Beach a significant local employer. Why shouldn't that person be allowed to contribute money to candidates running for public office, Mr. Zahangir?
Well, if he doesn't have to contribute the money and then he's trying to get something out of it, that's not going to happen. If you wanted to contribute for a candidate you like to get elected, that's a different thing. But if you have a luggage behind it and saying, if you pass this for me and everything, I'll give you donation, it doesn't work with me. It has to be no string attached. If they wanted to do that, it has to be no string attached.
Mr. Zahangir, who's the current Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives?
Hold on. I did talk with him. Well, the name isn't coming to my head right now.
Okay, all right. Can you tell me anything about him? What part of the state he's from? What he does for a living?
He's from my area, and then he's a Republican, and then he's also running again. I think, yeah, he's also running again. Yeah. Mhm.
Kelly Skidmore, why don't you clarify things for us?
The current speaker is Chris Sprouse. He is not running again. He is term limited. The next speaker is Paul Renner.
Mr. Zahangir, do you support term limits for members of the Florida legislature?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because we have to give a chance to the new people. I mean, to me, what it looks like is that after a certain times, we're not doing anything. We're just a sitting duck, and we just pass the bill. What the other people, I mean, what other representative or senator brings it. So everything has to be term limit, including the judges too. I believe in that. So they will perform their best within the term limit.
Kelly Skidmore, what is your position about term limits for legislators?
I don't agree with them. I certainly don't agree with 8 years. If there were a little bit longer, listen, I've heard the expression so many times that from Republicans, government should be run more like a business. Government is not a business, but if it were, you would not change out your leadership of your $112 billion business every 2 years and expect, you know, everyone to understand all the levels of that budget. You wouldn't expect your leaders in your company to be expertise or have expertise on issues of healthcare, of insurance, of transportation, of the environment. There are people that enter into the legislature and they find a niche that they can work in and they can become an expert in. And when we lose that, just like we are now, it's like the great resignation is happening to the legislature as well. We're losing really good moderate Republicans, and we're losing really good Democrats, not because of term limits either, not necessarily just because of term limits. So prior to 8 is enough. The statistic I have is that the average length of stay for a state representative was 7 years. But there were folks who were there for 10 or 12 or 15, and they provided that perspective and vision that we no longer have in the legislature because people are there for their 8 years to make their mark and to move on. And that's why I think we're stuck in this cycle of all these culture wars because there's not enough vision and perspective in the body anymore. So I don't agree with term limits.
Why are, in your opinion, Kelly, you serve with a lot of these people, and you're right, but why are so many Democrats, let's say in the House, leaving and cycling out before they're termed out? Why is that?
There is a huge level of frustration. There is an attitude in the House specifically of, as Randy Fine put it, you know, why is this important? Why is the leadership pushing this agenda? Because we can. There's a lot of, for lack of a better word, bullying that goes on in the legislature within the Republican leadership and from the Republicans into the Democratic caucus as well. So it gets frustrating. I mean, I don't condone what happened during the last legislative session between, one of the Democratic members, 2 of the Democratic members, but I get why. I get that there's a boiling point that happens and a disregard for people's ideas and opinions and beings. So there's a frustration. On the Republican side, I think there's a frustration in that friends have said to me, I just don't know if I can take it anymore. I have to get permission to file a bill, permission to write an op-ed, permission to miss a day. That was oftentimes denied. If you sent a letter and said, I need to be absent out of a committee, they would tell you, no, you can't. It is denied. So there is a top-down leadership that is just crushing some people.
Okay. let me ask Mr. Zahangir briefly. I just wanted to ask because I think Representative Skidmore alluded to this. Mr. Zahangir, have you been to Tallahassee? By that I mean, have you been to the state capitol, attended
Yes.
attended a legislative committee meeting, and seen how the legislature operates?
Well, I was there quite a few times. Even I was there, and I know the state capital everywhere, but I was at the legislative committee when the DeSantis tried to pass the bill for the abortion. I was there with my people, and we protested. And then legislative, session, I was not officially in any of the legislative session, official way, because of I didn't have the authority to go up there. I didn't need it to go up there, but it is the time for me to go up there and then get involved for my constituents.
Okay.
Randy Schultz has there's a message that Randy has his hands raised, so I don't know if he's still trying to get a word in.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm gonna open the floor to both Randy and
I'm not sure you can see it.
yeah, I can see it, but I'm gonna open the floor to Randy and Dan. Go ahead, gentlemen.
I have a related question.
Randy, you're on mute.
Yeah,
Or you're
go
delayed.
ahead, Randy. You were delayed for a second. We can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a related question. This is for Kelly. What, you've answered part of it. What was it like to work in the House under Chris Sprowls? Do you anticipate that changing under Paul Renner? If so, in what way? And what do you expect the House Republican caucus to try next year?
I don't mean to take anything away from any leader, but the difference that will be made is in the chief of staff. So the fact that Matt Ball will be gone and Allison Carter will be in place will be the most significant change. Speaker designate Renner is a person of great respect. He's very measured. He's very kind. He's very easy to approach, not dissimilar to Speaker Sprowls, who was very kind to me on a number of occasions when I needed some assistance. So I think the tone might be slightly less caustic. I'm hopeful for that. But I did note that Speaker Renner and President Pasadomo recently said that they will be addressing more quote unquote woke issues coming up. So, I'm sort of ready to put the battle armor on and see what they will come up with next, whether it's more books that will be banned, more marginalized folks who will be attacked, or more history that we're going to rewrite.
Just apropos of that, the governor is currently at a press conference where he is decrying environmental, social governance funds, ESG funds. So there you go. There's a preview. I wanted to revisit what on the term limits, and Representative Skidmore just mentioned something that I think is kind of illustrates the point of my question. She said how rather than the issue being a change of speaker, that the real issue was the change of the chief of staff will be a significant change. And when it comes to term limits, Mr. Zahangir, you said your 4 term limits, and in principle, when you look at it, I can understand why you would want them, but in practice, it's been my experience in going to Tallahassee and covering the state legislature that when you take away extended terms for legislators, what you're left with is all the institutional knowledge goes to staff and to lobbyists, and they become the subject experts. And so the people that you vote for, the elected officials, become more beholden to lobbyists and to staff members who know more about the subjects than they do. So what do you think of that criticism of term limits? And is there any water to that? Do you think term limits do you think Congress would be better served by having term limits in place as well?
Because of what happened is that, like, if we don't have a term limit, we don't have any agenda. We cannot pass. If we cannot get it done within 4 years, 6 years, or 8 years, you will never get anything done. That's my theory. And then what happened is that we, the politician, including me, we are getting too much comfort sitting in our seat, but not doing anything. So when I was talking to my constituents, I said, including me and all the politicians who you elect, I'll make sure they work for their buck. They're not going to sit out. It has to have a term limit. Everything has to have a term limit. So what does it do for the legislative? If they really wanted to help the constituents, if they are for the people, they will get those things done with their term limit. Otherwise, they can pass it along to the next legislative or next elected officials. Everywhere it should be a term limit. It not should be any more open. Even the judges who people elect has to have a term limit.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Zahangir, Steve Bosque here again. Tell me one particular issue, one specific issue that is an important issue in the city of Boca Raton, Delray Beach, or Boynton Beach that the Florida legislature should address next session. Anything.
The home insurance for the people is rising high. That's the number one. Because what is our legislative did is what I've been studying, and then I've been seeing that every insurance company comes in Florida, stay for two year or 3 years. They make the money, they leave Florida. And even though we had no hurricane for last 10 years, no major hurricane for last 10 years, insurance is going up every single year. That's not how it's supposed to be done. This will be one of the main thing. And then also one more thing is that every 5 years, Republicans try to cut our senior citizens Medicare and their social security benefit. In my watch, in the state of Florida, I'll make sure it's not going to happen. So all we need to do is elect more Democrat. So we can take care
Social
of
Security
those,
and Medicare
yeah,
congressional
yeah,
issues, sir.
Mm-hmm. I know. Just a little bit we can help too.
On a related point, though, Kelly, do you think the Demotech pulled back its recommendation because of political pressure?
I'm not familiar. Randy, could you explain it?
Demotech is the rating company that was going to downgrade either 17 or 27
Yes.
state-run insurance.
Yes, I
think
do
so?
think so.
Okay.
Kelly, let me ask you briefly, and this might be the last question. We're coming up against our time limit, but I wanted to ask you, Mr. Zahangir said, I asked an open-ended question about what the cities in the district could expect help from Tallahassee. He mentioned property insurance as the number one issue. What would you say to the same question?
I think that is the number one issue, but there are lots of issues. Certainly transportation, growth, the cost of housing, whether that's rent or home ownership. We're in a tough bind. The workforce of our state is having a very difficult time finding housing, affordable housing, to be able to stay here. So something has to be addressed in that regard. We did not do enough during the legislative session on homeowners insurance, property insurance, but we did what we could to stabilize things to a degree, kind of the tourniquet, a lot of people have said. And Citizens is, we're probably going to have to increase the limit on the price of a home to $750, where it is in Miami-Dade and Monroe, because I think the median home price in Palm Beach County is more than $500,000. I mean, think about that, guys. Where is everybody living when the median home price is over $500,000? So so those are big issues. Growth, the ag reserve, big issue on, you know, where is density going? Concurrency, we need more schools because there are more people. So there are a handful of issues that are not necessarily specific to 92, but are on the minds of the residents of 92.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop there and say thank you to both of you for your time this morning and for answering our questions in our questionnaire. Kelly Skidmore, Hasan, Zahangir, the best of luck to both of you going forward. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Great to see you all. Randy, wonderful to see you. Dan.
Good to see you, everybody. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.